what happens. Um, yeah, let's begin. I had this whole big introduction, but we've already talked, so we don't need to do that. Why do you think this movie endures over all of these years? And Jonathan, since you're up, why don't you go first?
Which one is Jonathan? Is that
I'm
me?
sorry. Yes,
Right.
Gries. Yeah.
Okay. I would say the film. I mean, I don't know if we knew this. Certainly, I don't think we knew this when we were shooting it. But it has taken on such a nostalgic nature. I mean, it has that in it. It's inherently nostalgic, and I think because families were able to find commonality. A lot of my friends, even when the film first came out, I remember people calling me saying, "This is the first film that I've been able to sit on a couch and watch with my kids, and we all laugh together." This is and apparently there's been quite a divide in a lot of families. It's like if the kids are watching the films, the parents aren't. They're not there. They're just kind of off doing their thing. And if the parents are watching the films, the kids are usually off doing their thing. So this is the first time I think in a long time that there's a commonality and that and now being 21 years later, I think it's legacied in a lot of families because grandpa or grandma or somebody showed the film first and everybody watched it as a family together. And now some members of the family might even be departed. And we hear this a lot. And they say we still get together on holidays. Whenever we're all getting together, we'll watch the movie and it makes us feel like they're there, those who are not there anymore.
John H., did you have any sense that this movie was going to be bigger than a small indie film made in 3 weeks?
No, I didn't have a sense. I honestly thought, my imagination wasn't quite running at that point in terms of what the film could be because it was an independent film. And and it was my first film, so I really didn't know. And it wasn't just your typical independent film, it was made by college students. So we were like, well, we have no connections really. We're making this movie, but I think, just my buddies and I will definitely like it. And there might be some other indie film goers if we're lucky to get this in a few film festivals that we show up at and they're like, oh, this is weird, quirky stuff. But we didn't know it would ever get sold, be seen by the masses and enjoyed by, as John said, all the different generations of people.
Efren, there is just this particular kind of sense of humor, and I love it. Did you get it the first time you were looking over the scripts? Did you think,
No. Um, Even when I auditioned, I didn't get a hold of the script. I only had pages from the script, so I thought like, and you read the dialogue and you're left wondering if it was correct, because if it was written right or if the characters were extremely exaggerated. But no, and look, to my surprise, it's like you're making your choices as an actor. And then, for me, when I showed up my first day on set, uh, when I saw Jon Heder dressed up as his character, and I thought like, and I looked around and I saw everyone else, and LaFonda and Kip and Uncle Rico. I kept on wondering if I had made the right choice of taking on this film, and I thought like maybe I made a mistake. So, but it's like you never know with these things. You never know that where it would lead to. And I thought, like, okay, you entrust the writers and you entrust the director of giving you guidance on the direction of where they're going in telling the story. So, to our surprise, like it's amazing to see when we go from theater to theater to see how many people are dressed up as the characters and want to be on stage just to be a part of this whole act that we do.
Yes.
yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm bringing my girlfriend. Um, I don't know what we're going to dress up like, but we'll be there.
I,
Uh,
I was going to say, one thing that he did say that it's so true. And I think that, perhaps John being like in that group of guys and their humor. They really understood this humor. But some of us, like who came in from the outside, we were still figuring it out as we were going along. For instance, at one point I remember when I say, your grandma took a spill at the sand dunes and she broke her coccyx. That's how it was spelled. And I went to Jared and I said, Jared, this is improperly spelled. It's coccyx. And he was looked at me, kind of took a pause and looked at me and was like, I know. And I was like, oh, I get it. Like, I was figuring it out. As we were going along, you really started to understand. I mean, it was like I thought, oh, this young guy doesn't even know how to spell coccyx. It's so stupid on my part. But it was part of the learning curve of the style of this movie.
This is the sixth year that you folks are taking Napoleon Dynamite live on the road. Are you literally driving together?
Yes.
We are literally, well, we drive in the front seat and we tie a string to Efren, and he's so shallow that he just floats above the car like a kite.
Like a balloon.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens.
We've actually it's 6 years, but I figure about in the middle of it, 2 of those years were kind of extracted because of COVID. So, but it really, 2 years before and 2 years since. So it's been amazing. But yeah, we drive everywhere.
What kind of reaction do you get when you are seen together? Because that must blow people's minds.
It
You
does.
know, we would typically when we drive from, show to show, we almost always will map out the kind of the low road less traveled route. And so we'll come upon like little towns and places. So it's really either they haven't heard of it or they may not see it. We're not there trying to like, walk around with our flags and everything, but
We actually
um
dress as the characters.
but we will get recognized, and it's always kind of fun to see the domino effect. They might recognize one of us first, like, "Hey, so and so." All of a sudden, then they look to the next one, like, and then and then they look to the third one, like, oh my gosh," and then that's where we're like, "Let's skedaddle."
I will say that there was a moment when we were in, I think it was in Kansas, where we we stopped by the small town to get some gas, and there was a little girl who was selling pumpkins, with her
So
little brother.
that the
And
West
so, Gries walked into the gas
Virginia.
station, and then she's looking at us, and she's something different about Heater and I, and it was only when Gries comes out with somebody else, they're like, "Oh my gosh, they really are the cast of Napoleon Dynamite."
I mean, and this was a one stoplight town. I mean, by the time we finished gassing up, they people had called, I guess, their friends, and people started showing up at the gas station. It was pretty.
Um, do you make it a point to stop at roadside attractions and things, or
If
We
we
just
have time, if
we
we
were
have
just
time,
we
like
were we always find one place to go.
we try to like it just depends on the drive, and if we have time we're like okay we're gonna go. We definitely get very touristy, and or I guess not tourist, more like we try to do the again go off the beaten path and check out things that not everybody checks out, but whether it's a hike or some um
Caves.
stupid geocache
Museums.
or some we'll go spelunking.
We were just at Monticello. We just went to Jefferson's house.
yeah, been there. That's a good one. All right, now what can people expect when they come out to Napoleon Dynamite Live? I know we're supposed to dress up as our favorite characters. Probably don't have to, but maybe we should.
That's
Sure, that's
optional.
part of you pay money, and the requirement is you have to dress up. They will not let you through the door if you don't have some kind of tot in your pocket or something. Um, but I think what they can expect is, you're coming to an evening where you can watch the movie and where you think you would be watching a moderated Q&A afterwards. It's much more of an interactive Q&A, and fan experience is kind of how we describe it. We have activities, we have prizes, we have giveaways, we do trivia. It's a much more hands-on kind of interaction. And we have, and it makes it very fun for us. And I think, fans can expect to have a little bit more of this intimate, I say intimate, it sounds weird to say intimate, but a much
Engaging,
more
engaging.
Yeah.
engaging kind
Yes.
of experience than they would at a normal moderated Q&A.
And let me just clarify that John's kidding. You don't have to dress up. It's optional, but I
Yeah.
mean, people who do dress up tend to get called up on stage sometimes. You know, it's just never
Geez,
know.
Gries, don't give it all away.
Well, you never know. Well, you said, we might make fun of you.
I will say we did a one study one time where it was a family of 8, and each one was dressed up as Rex Kwon Do.
They were all Rex.
uh, nobody are fans of Pedro or Napoleon or Uncle
It was
Rico.
the Kwon family.
It really was the Kwon Do family. So and it's so the whole idea of the show is a celebration of the film itself and the characters and the story, and how involved we are with the audience, where the audience gets to participate in being part of the story and why it's so it holds so strong.
Um,
They identify with every single character, whether they're the Uncle Ricos or the Napoleons or the Pedros or even the llamas.
or Rex Kwon Do. Yeah. I mean, we're the original fans. So we were fans first, and we understand the fandom behind this film. We like to engage with the crowd as if we are also fans, less than performers.
That's fantastic. I don't know if I shared this story. Right after the movie came out, I went to Preston, Idaho, with a photographer whose most of his equipment was left on the plane accidentally. So I
Oh,
had to shoot this with with a video camera that we borrowed, getting up really close to the people. But in any case, went saw all of the sites, got pushed into the lockers at the school, met the twins, met Dale. This final and the story, Napoleon Dynamite's hometown, actually won an Emmy the
What?
next year. Yeah.
Wow,
what?
congratulations.
Yeah. Well,
Wait, that's crazy. I
it
did
is.
not
It's a
know.
crazy story. It really is.
I
That's
would love.
amazing.
Wow.
Do you have? I mean, is there access or a way we could watch that?
Yes, I posted it on YouTube about a week ago. And I think the person with Tacoma Arts Live might have sent you a link to it. Um, but yeah, I'm very happy with this story considering that we didn't have the right equipment to shoot it.
Did he ever get his
Award
cameras
winning.
back?
Yeah, we got all this stuff back. We did 2 stories in Idaho, and the first one was about a TV weatherman who, when he was off camera, um, he believed that the lines, the contrails that planes were leaving behind, he was one of those conspiracy theorists. So he had lots of people, talking about that while he was off camera. He never brought it up when he was on camera. He was
Um,
lent us his camera so that we could shoot that story.
Wow. Well,
huh.
he's in Idaho. That makes sense. Here we go. Step up. Come here. Trying to get my parrot to stop making noise, but he's
We don't hear it.
okay.
You guys, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
We really look forward to this, and I'll promote the hell out of it. I think it's great fun.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much for having us, Saint.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, man.
All right, take care. Have a good day.
Take
All right,
it
see ya.
easy. You too.
Hey, guys.
Bye.